Hey, it's Christine Kane, president and founder of Uplevel U. Welcome to another episode of Instant Uplevel. Today's topic is all about building a relationship with your list and selling to your list. And the question comes from Nneka, and her question is, would you say as a rule to write your list for 3 to 6 months before offering any services, or is this just for programs? Also, should we exclude new people on the list when sending solo emails for promotion? So that is an awesome question, Nneka, and what it tells me is that you are thinking like a marketer. Now, a lot of people would say that means, oh, I'm being manipulative. No. It means you're being strategic, which is really how you honor your list. Instead of just sort of half-assing it and hoping that your list gets it and someone buys, which is what a lot of people do, you're actually thinking, hey, you know what? Some of the people on my list are new. If I've been putting my e-zine out for 5 years now, maybe I want to separate them out and put them into different sequence, which is great thinking. So let me cover this from 3 different points that I want to make. The first one answers your first question, which is really about the relationship with the list. So a lot of marketers out there will say, the money's in the list. If you have a list of 1,000, you can make millions of dollars. That's all you need. And it's true, there is money in having a list, but the money is in your relationship with the list. So as a marketer, your key priority is really about your relationship with the list, which means you want to be adding value to them for a certain amount of time before you actually sell to them. Now, what that amount of time is entirely up to you, and really it's dependent upon who is on your list. So for me, I like to spend some time developing my relationship with my list. And when I first put out my e-zine, I let it go out for 3 or 4 months before I actually offered anything. And that's my style. But what you have to determine is start to see what kind of feedback am I getting from my list, what kind of click-throughs, what do they like, what do they not like, and then you can decide when it is appropriate to offer something. But I do want to make sure that you want to spend some time building your relationship before you just hit your list really hard. Because one of the examples I give is there was a woman who's a healer who I met at a speaking gig I did, and she came up to me to ask me about her list. And she told me, you know what, I launched to them. I gathered all my names together and I offered them something, and she didn't really get the response she wanted. And of course she didn't, because she had never talked to them before. And she's a healer. Like, her whole thing is about connection and touch. And there she was, just gathering the names and making an offer, which is exactly why so many people don't love marketing. So you want to make sure you're looking at your list. Second thing I want to say is that there are no hard and fast rules with any of this. There is no way to say, oh, it has to be this much time, it has to be exactly this, and do it this way. This is about your list, who is on it, and who are you as the leader, as the voice, as the tribe leader. So ways to tell what you need to do is really looking at things like your open rates. You really want to pay attention to your metrics, and you really want to pay attention to the response you are getting. So don't take it for granted that there is some hard and fast rule that you have to do with your list. The last point is really about sequencing. So your question about, do I remove brand new people from my launch sequence is a great question, because you may get to a point where you've been putting your e-zine out for 3 years, you developed a relationship with your list, and you may want a different sequence for anyone who's brand new to your list. And when you're doing a launch, you don't want somebody who's just logged in to be on your list to suddenly start getting 2, 3, 4 emails a week because you're in the middle of a launch, because they may just go running. So what you do is, with your shopping cart, you would set it up so that anyone who is new to your list, maybe in the last 2 months, one month, whatever, they do not get any launch sequence that you're doing. They don't get your e-zine yet. But what you do want to think about is, what sequence do they get? So maybe you start a different sequence where it's a 21-day sequence that you are actually marketing to them in a different way, developing the relationship in a different way, and bringing them into your world in a way that's very strategic and really opens it up to them. And maybe you make an offer to them after that 21 days that's a little lower priced or something that's a little more doable so that they can experience you before actually signing up for one of your services. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. If you have a question or if you have a comment, leave it in the space below and
Talk to you soon.